What's going on, guys? It's Will here. Welcome back to the channel. All right, we're taking a look at a couple of charts. Going over a couple of trades that we took today. Actually had a decent day today. Could have been better, but it was a lot of chop happening throughout the markets. Things didn't really go the way I expected them to go after a little bit of a weekend that we've had, and kind of got caught in the sideways action, which pretty much killed contracts with a lot of fake outs and things like that. But let's go ahead and hop right into it and take a look at what the chart looked like today. All right, I got the SPY pulled up here on the 45-minute time frame, just to get an idea of what we can see coming up in the near term. I tend to use the extended hours just for more information purposes, and also some of the indicators that I use, including harmonics, as well as some of the EMAs and SMAs that I have on the crosses. And right now, just taking a look, we've discussed on previous videos, we're still playing out the broadening top pattern that we've built up since the last few weeks. From the past, the low of about 379, and now playing out heading back toward the top end of it. I have us falling out of our bullish channel that we've actually had there since about the middle of March, and we've been playing top and bottom side of this whole thing. We've fallen out of the bull channel. And had a final support here that seemed to have been forming, almost inverse head and shoulders is actually taking place. Not exactly, but just a setup here that has been playing out almost exactly, where we were able to catch a little bit of a run off of that support. You can see here we were able to get a nice little bit of a bit of a move today after a fake out dump. Let's take a look a little closer here. Let's go into the 5-minute to get an example of what I'm talking about. I actually went ahead and entered a few calls that were about for the 414 mark for tomorrow's date. I typically don't play any options before the first 30 minutes of the trading day. So roughly about 10 a.m. Eastern time, I start to look to get into my positions and things like that. And noticed at 10 o'clock, roughly after 10 o'clock, things started to go for the downturn. I got the initial move up roughly about 10 o'clock. I entered into my calls roughly down here about the 412-ish mark, and I was actually green for a period of time before everything kind of went sideways, and we started to form a downtrend from about 10:30 all the way back down to roughly about the almost 410. Wound up going ahead and hedging those calls, which were for tomorrow's date, the 418 date. Wound up hedging those calls with 0 DTE puts. The 0 DTE puts actually did pretty well. They were for 410. I believe they were just a few cents at the time. Being just I needed to hedge that position just in case things actually went for the worst. Playing again with a 30% stop loss just in case things don't go the way I'd like them to go. And again, minimizing losses, which is very important. Again, managing your risk is pretty much what this whole thing is about, which would help you greatly on the upside. But nonetheless, the move happened roughly about the 10:30 mark. Things started to drop down pretty heavily. We caught that additional support we just talked about a while ago that has been formed in after hours as well as regular trading hours over the last 3 days or so. Caught a bounce and then a further dump a little bit after that, roughly about 2 o'clock this afternoon. I have to look into more details to see if there's any information that's out there that might have caused something like this. If there were any talks or anything that's happening in the broader market or news that might have created this, or whether or not this is just a schematic situation. But either way, we were able to kind of go ahead and hedge those calls again with the puts, and I was able to add more to my position for the tomorrow date, the 418 calls for 414 strike price, and kind of catch this ride all the way back up to alleviate some of the downside or the negative piece that I had on my calls, and actually was able to wind up finishing up green and got rid of the calls today just in case things didn't continue on into tomorrow. So wind up with a 30% play, nothing huge, nothing to really write home about, but again, a green day is a green day, and it wound up playing out just fine. Again, posting all of these moves on Twitter, my plays and things like that, just to kind of keep everyone aware of what I got going on. But still a decent play overall. The market did just play a lot with a lot of our emotions and a lot of chop sideways up until the end of the day, where we got this huge move all the way back up into the 414 or close to 414 range, about 413.94 is where we finished the day, and it looks like we're up 0.18 to about 414.12 in after hours. So huge move on the SPY. If you got into it and were able to take advantage of that big move, I think this was easily over 100%, 200% play, if not more, if you caught the bottom of this thing. So congratulations if you were able to catch this move. We're going to take a look a little bit further to see what I believe is going to be happening in the next couple of days. Let's say just for tomorrow, for time being. That huge move that we had today was, I believe we're going to be overextended on a lot of the oscillators. So it's a possibility it may be a little bit of a retracement. But we did actually find support and break through some of the levels that I had already placed. And I believe that there's going to be some continuation. Let's pull up some of the indicators that I got here. So basically right now, we did break back into that channel that I mentioned. This white line represents the channel we talked about. Not the bullish channel, but the secondary layer of support, which has been acting as a resistance level here for us for the last few days. Once we break through it, you can see obviously we run. Once we break below it, we drop down pretty heavily, and so on and so forth. We did trip up here for just a little bit before breaking through, and I can actually see some continuation happening on this move within the next day or two. Obviously, in post market, we're on the way up. Taking a look here on the harmonic indicator, I believe we have a target set up on this thing. Roughly about 414.93 is what I'd be looking to move towards within the next day or so. Easily can happen by morning. I expect the retracement for us to come back down, test this support level somewhere around the 313.75 mark, just to make sure the breakout actually holds and actually is a real breakout, not just a flash move. It did seem like a lot of short covering might have happened in order to cause that type of a move at the end of the day, but I'm looking for some sort of a healthy retracement, find some consolidation here, possibly even a fake out back down to the volume profile line here, which is roughly about the 313.40, 313.35 mark, and then from there start to make our way back up. As long as I don't believe there's any reports or any news coming out, but we do have huge earnings coming up this week on a lot of different tickers. I believe Tesla's on Wednesday, and so on and so forth. So for now, as far as the SPY is concerned, I do see us moving up to the ABCD area for 14.93, and then HOP is up at 415.94. Let's move a little further out. I do also have my longer dated calls right now that are at the for 428. Now this is a very risky move. 428, 430 calls. 428 expiration date, 430 strike price. Currently my positions are up roughly 10.2%, with about 200 contracts, which were roughly around the 15 cent. Actually, my average right now is at 14 cents. So right now we're sitting at 15 cents. And I expect the move to continue to happen. I expect a series of fake outs up and down throughout this range. I don't expect this to move straight up, but I will be trimming through my contracts as I typically do. At the 10% mark, most likely, if we do continue to move tomorrow, I'll be looking to trim some of those contracts off and reduce my risk in order to have leave just the runners closer and closer to that strike price as we get up there, and not look to play it the entire way. There's a possibility that anything can happen and we can move the other direction. So we want to be very, very wary of that as well. We have a type 2 reaction sitting in at 414.44. If we can go ahead and find support here, I can easily start to see us move back towards the 416 mark. Whatever took place today that caused that mini squeeze, I don't think it's fully over yet, because again, we're moving still in after hours, and it looks like there's a lot of upside. We still got that gap up there sitting at around the 420 to 421 mark, and looks like it's going to be hit sooner than later, most likely at the end of the month. OPEX, I'm looking for huge moves to be happening. It's the options expirations date coming up. It's probably a lot of the meme stocks that we'll probably talk about in another video are going to be moving along with that during that time frame. So we'll take a look into those. But I do see a squeeze happening on the entire market within the next few days to the next few weeks. So do keep a lookout on what's happening overall. Any questions and comments you have about certain tickers and whatever you may want to talk about, any questions that you may have going forward, and we'll gladly go over them and see what we can do about answering a few of those. I do try to get back to everyone as soon as possible. If you follow me on Twitter as well, you'll see I'm very responsive there. And again, I post most of my plays on Twitter. So please do follow along. Hit the like and subscribe button if you do feel that this has helped in any way. And again, let's stay in contact. Let me know any thoughts and questions and things like that you'd like to see on this channel, as well as any questions that I can answer for you, and I'll be right there with them. So once again, thanks for joining me today. Hope to talk to you guys real soon. Take it easy.